So we're not saying that it's possible to learn it all in this video, but I'm hoping to give myself this challenge to see how fast I can go to really give you the absolute essence of what coaching is in its true form, in its internationally accredited form. Okay, so enough of that. Let me see if I can just dive right in. Are you ready? Okay, so how can you life coach anyone, anywhere in 20 minutes or less? First of all, it's absolutely possible to have a life-changing conversation with anyone and to use coaching skills to make that conversation valuable. And you can do it within under 20 minutes. The number one cardinal rule of coaching is no advice giving. So what this 20 minutes looks like is it doesn't look like telling someone what to do. Isn't that amazing? We're learning to do something else instead. We're learning to ask empowering questions. What coaching really is it's motivating someone, helping them to get focused and clear, helping them to make decisions, helping them to come up with action plans, helping them to find whatever inner resources they need to move forward in their life, helping them to overcome their obstacles. And very importantly, it's always their solutions, their dreams, their goals. So that's what a coach does. Doesn't give advice, asks powerful questions, has a conversation that motivates, focuses, inspires, and gets people moving into positive, proactive action. All right. So ILS, my company, Inner Life Skills, our form of coaching specializes in helping people to overcome their inner obstacles. And we've developed a 3-step method and 3 core skills that are absolutely critical to coach somebody. So as I promised, I'm going to go through these real quick. The 3-step method can be used in any conversation, informal and formal. You can even apply it to meetings. You can add it to your existing communications. For example, if you're counseling someone, supporting someone, even teaching someone, other professions really benefit from learning to add this 3-step method to their conversational skills and their communication skills. Meetings are also absolutely much more effective with these 3 steps. The 3 steps are, number 1, first, you must contract the time. Now, it doesn't mean contract like legal terms. We're not signing agreements. And as coaches, we never use the jargon of coaching. So this is jargon. It's internationally recognized, accredited core competency type of lingo. What a contract means is simply this. It is getting very clear and very focused and defining what is the outcome that we want to achieve during the time frame that we have together. So if we had 20 minutes together, I would contract the session by asking you questions for you to decide what you wanted to achieve in that session of 20 minutes. If it was 6 hours, we would contract 6 hours. If it was an hour, we'd contract an hour. The contract is a clear outcome. It's not like a long-term goal. For example, a goal could be, I want to lose 5 kgs, someone might say. They can't do that in 20 minutes, therefore it's not a contract, it's a goal. A contract could be like, I want to, in this 20 minutes, feel motivated to start my weight loss program. And that's something a coach would coach the person on. Another goal could be, I want to write a book. A coach can't coach someone to write a book in 20 minutes or an hour or even in 6 hours, but they can coach them around contracts. For example, coming up with a theme for the book, coming up with a marketing plan for the book, making a decision around how to best publish the book, getting over an inner obstacle like writer's block or procrastination or fear, etc. You get the idea? So a coach first contracts. Now you'll notice we've talked about solutions, but we don't jump into solutions straight away. Most proactive people think, oh, I know how to coach. It's about finding a solution. So they say to somebody, so what solution can you come up with? And the person looks at them and goes, I don't know. That's a coach's nightmare, someone to say, I don't know. But if you're trained really well, you've got lots of tools to be able to use to help somebody over, I don't know, like I don't know the answer, I don't know what to do. But another important way to avoid that is to first contract. You have an outcome for the time. There are other things involved with contracting, which I can't go into all now, but just to give you a little taste, as I promised, we find out why the person wants to do what they do. Why is it important? Who's going to be impacted? This juice to the session, it motivates people, it gets them into action mode, it gets them inspired to be coached. Very important. We call it deepening the value. We also get evidence. Now, evidence again is it's not like a legal thing, and it's not like a detective or police thing. Evidence is asking questions like, how will the person know that they've achieved it? So many people say, I want to be successful, but they've never answered the question, how will I know I'm successful? Otherwise, maybe it happened last Thursday and you didn't realize it. Or maybe it's going to happen next Tuesday. You know what I mean? We create these loose, vague goals and dreams for ourselves, but we don't get evidence. So evidence is a very important part of coaching. A coach helps someone to get clear on how they're going to know they actually have what they want. We also check a few things, like we check how important it is. We check that it is within the person's power, because of course it's pointless carrying on towards a goal or a dream and we're focusing on actions that we actually have no power around. It's like if you say, well, I want to write a book and then I want to get internationally published, and my first action is I want to write the whole book in one day. You know, that's unrealistic to write a book in one day, unless the book is like 5,000 words long. So there actually are questions that a coach is asking in their mind and checking to make sure that they do justice to the person that they're coaching. Like checking it's in power, checking that we have a single thing to focus on, that we're not too scattered. We're also checking that the person is focusing on the positive, not like Pollyanna positive, like what they do want instead of focusing on what they don't want. How many times do we say, I don't want to be stressed, I don't want to be late, I don't want to fail, I don't want to, feel this or that, or I don't want this and that to happen. So we're focusing on what we don't want instead of focusing on what we do want. So coaches learn to hear these things and to very skillfully refocus a conversation if it's heading in a way that's not helpful. And that's all done in contracting. Okay, so once we have a contract, then we go on to a solution-focused conversation. Now, the contracting can take an expert coach about 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes more, about 10 minutes, but mostly it can take about 5 minutes to contract well. Amazing, eh? All that information I've talked about in 5 minutes can be done, and can be done well. Then a person goes into solutions. Now we ask how. How do we do this? But we've already got the clarity of the contract in place, that clear outcome. We know where to shoot our bow and arrow, what target we're after. Now we're looking at how. So this is the action plan. This is the real meat of a coached conversation. And we keep the conversation on solutions and not going down into the story. So the conversation never becomes, well, Auntie Mabel said this and this happened last week. Not that that isn't valuable, but if we're having a coached conversation, we keep it very focused on how are we going to do this. But we use a couple of skills to keep it spiraling up towards the future, positive and solution focused. We also handle any obstacles here. We look at obstacles and we find solutions to overcome them. Now this should take the bulk of any coaching time. For example, if we're doing 20 minutes, this should be like 10, 12 minutes of the conversation or more, up to 15 minutes of the conversation can be solutions. The last thing you do as a coach is you wrap up a session positively. You want the end of a coached conversation to be as positive as a good end to a movie. You don't want it to just fizzle out and, well, okay, we have 45 million solutions, off you go. That's not really a skillful way to end a conversation. So in our step 3 in the ILS 3-step method, we have a couple of tips for you. First of all, we wrap up the session with a few things. Should take 2 to 5 minutes at the most if you're coaching in 20 minutes. If you've got more time, then you can take a bit more time. You want the person to choose out of all their solutions and out of all the actions that they've come up with, about 2 or 3 actions that they can take in the short term. You want short-term actions, things that can be done in the next day, in the next week, so that the person moves into action as soon as possible. Then you want to do things like deepen their commitment to the action. Get them really sort of excited about it and not wishy-washy. Well, I suppose I could do this on Tuesday and I suppose I could do that on Wednesday. We don't want that kind of fuel behind that person's dream, do we? So we want commitment, and we don't push it. A coach doesn't like finger wag. It's done in a very gentle, supportive and respectful way. And then we also acknowledge. We get the person to acknowledge themselves for something positive that they've gained from the session. In other words, we don't go, oh, well, I'm such a fabulous coach. Look at all the amazing things I've done for you today. What we do is we honor the person or the people that we're coaching by getting them to recognize their own accomplishments that day. And then finally we give a little sincere thank you, or we end in an upbeat, positive, sincere way, just to round it off. And that's what coaching is. Hopefully you got a couple of tips. I know it can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but perhaps if you look at the video again, you'll be able to highlight a couple of things that you can start using straight away. In our ILS Coach 101 seminar, it's a 2-day seminar, we teach you the 3-step method. We teach you the 3 skills, which I haven't gone into in detail now, which are rapport building, coach position, which is about keeping yourself equal to another person, not going into plus, I'm superior, and neither going into minus, I'm inferior. And lastly, a very important coaching skill is to learn to question like a coach, to ask empowering questions and not disempowering questions. So on our training, we teach you the 3-step method and we teach you the 3 skills. And we give you scripts. Our courses are all internationally accredited at the highest level. So every time you come to a training with us, you actually get hours that are recognized by the International Coaching Federation, because we have that accreditation. And within 12 hours, you'll have the skills to begin coaching. It does take longer to get fully qualified as a coach, but at least you could have skills that you could start using straight away in your life. And the full course would give you a qualification, but two days is a real investment in your ability to be an empowering communicator. And instead of giving advice, now you can hopefully coach anyone, anywhere in 20 minutes or less. See you soon.